Welcome. You've come to the right place to rest. Tonight we'll drift quietly into the past. Not to castles or battlefields, but to a small cottage in a Tudor village. This story is not filled with drama. It moves slowly, like mist over thatched roofs, like footsteps across a cold wooden floor before dawn. You'll meet no queens, no famous names, just a young woman, a wife, beginning another ordinary day in a life shaped by silence, duty, and routine. There's no rush here, no loud moments. Just the soft scrape of a clay pot, the quiet rise of dough, and the hush of footsteps through muddy lanes. If calm histories like this help you sleep, feel free to like the video and subscribe. And if you're awake enough, let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is. It's oddly comforting to know who else is out there, falling asleep to the same old story. Now take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you'd like. Let the day fall behind you and let us begin. It begins in the dark, not full darkness, but that soft gray that comes just before light. The air is cold, it always is. Your breath curls in front of you like smoke. You don't open your eyes all at once, you wait. The world outside the blanket is colder than the one beneath it. But you know what comes next. The hearth must be lit. The water must be warmed. There is no choice, just rhythm. You shift. Feet touch the stone floor, and sharp, damp, and unforgiving. You shiver. But this is the way mornings have always begun. You move through the room slowly. Bare feet, quiet hands. The coals in the hearth are hidden in ash. You crouch and stir them gently, hoping for a spark. The flint strikes once, twice there, and a flicker. You feed it kindling. Then wood, the flame catches. A soft orange glow, a whisper of warmth. You sit near the fire just for a moment. Your hands hover above the flame. They are cracked, dry. Yesterday's washing lingers in your joints. You look around. A wooden cup on the table. A straw broom leaning by the door. The smell of smoke. The hush of early morning. Outside the lane is still. No voices. Only the distant creak of a cartwheel and the faint rustle of leaves against stone. You lift the flour sack. It's lighter than last week. You make a note in your mind. Quietly, a bowl. Water, salt. You knead slowly. Fold, press, breathe. Fold, press, breathe. There is comfort in repetition. You don't need to think, your hands remember. Somewhere behind you, your husband shifts in the bed. Still asleep, still warm. You do not speak. Not yet. The dough rises. The fire holds. The room begins to glow, not with light, but with the promise of warmth. And the day, like every other, begins. The chores wait in their usual places. They do not call out. They do not rush you, but they are always there. You begin with water. The pail is heavy even when empty. You carry it out across the stone threshold, the chill brushing past your ankles. The well is not far, but the path is worn and uneven. You step carefully, minding your balance, mindful of the damp hem of your skirt. The handle creaks, the rope pulls taut. Down, down it goes into the quiet dark below. You wait for the soft splash, and then you draw it back up, slow and steady. Water drips from the rim as you carry it home. Some spills onto your hand. It's colder than expected. You don't flinch. Inside, the hearth is crackling now, low but constant. You set the pail down beside it. The cloths must be washed. Not with soap, not yet. First, the stains are scrubbed with lye and ash. Your hands move rhythmically, back and forth across the same surface again and again. The scent of wet linen, smoke, and old wood fills the air. It's not unpleasant, it's just familiar. This is what clean smells like here. You look out the window for a moment. The mist still lingers in the lane. A hen scratches near the neighbor's fence. The village is beginning to stir. You turn back to the pot. Something simple for breakfast. Perhaps porridge, maybe onion stew from yesterday. You stir it gently. The spoon makes a soft scrape against the iron. Your shoulders ache already, not sharply. Just a dull, expected weight. There are no breaks scheduled. No moments to rest marked out. Only small pauses you steal between tasks. A crack in the wall lets a line of light through. You notice it, you don't move. Somewhere in the house, the bed creaks again. The day is beginning for him now, too. You straighten a basket, wipe your hands. Check the dough rising near the hearth. You are always checking. Always moving between small duties like beads on a string. There is peace in it, a quiet knowing. No decisions to make, only things to do. The broom waits, the wood must be swept. There are ashes near the back door, you don't rush. There is no one to rush you. And yet, you never stop. By mid-morning, your arms are tired. The sleeves of your shift are damp. But the floor is cleaner and the stew is warm. This is the shape of your morning, a rhythm without music, a silence full of work. And still, you do not complain. Late morning light creeps through the shutters. It's pale, washed-out gold across the floorboards, but enough to chase the shadows back toward their corners. You pause at the hearth, spoon still resting against the pot's side. The porridge simmers quietly, petals of steam rising, curling, and fading. Somewhere beyond the front door, you hear him. A footstep on the path. A soft tap of wood against wood. Your heart stills for a moment, caught between relief and the weight of what must come next. He is your husband, yes. But more than that, he is your measure. His needs chart the course of every day. You wipe your hands on your apron. The cloth is damp, stained with flour and ash. You brush crumbs from the table, one small ritual among many. Then the latch lifts, the door opens with a familiar creak. His silhouette fills the frame for an instant. Broad-shouldered, dusty-booted, worn by labor. He steps inside. His eyes flick toward the hearth, toward the pot, toward you. No greeting, only a nod. This is how mornings begin in your cottage. You ladle a bowl of porridge, thin, salted, nourishing. He takes it without a word, carries it to the table. You follow, your own heart beating in quiet rhythm. He sits, you stand. There is no chair for you. You are here to serve, not to rest. Bowls clink softly. He tastes the porridge. The spoon scrapes the bowl's curve. Steam drifts between you. You watch him watch you. He swallows once, then again. Satisfied, he eats in silence. Your eyes drift to the dough at the hearth. A second batch, richer this time with the yeast your neighbor lent you. You remember the flour sack, lower than before. You remember the market prices. You remember the taxes that come due come dawn of the next moon. But all of that stays behind your lips. You cannot say these things. Not before bread is in his belly. When he finishes, he sets the bowl aside. Your chance to speak is here in the hollow of that moment. More dough, you say softly. Could you fetch the water from the well on your way to the mill? He nods again. His gaze is neither warm nor unkind. It is steady, practical as the sun's path in the sky. He rises, boots scrape the floor. He moves toward the door. You hold still. One last look before he leaves, a silent question. Will there be enough? He steps outside and the door closes. You exhale, release a breath held tight since dawn. Now you turn to the dough. Your fingers press, fold, and coax it into life. Every motion is measured, every touch a small promise. Because when he returns, there must be bread. Warm loaves carried from the hearth to the table. Not just for hunger, but for the unspoken bond that holds you both in place. The morning stretches before you. Work and worry blended together. Wait for neither prayers nor rest. So you knead and you shape. You breathe with the rhythm of flour and water. And somewhere just beyond the door, the village moves on in its own quiet way. By midday, the light softens again. The clouds drift across the pale sky, and a faint breeze stirs the leaves by the well. Inside your cottage, the scent of baked bread lingers in the air, warm, gentle, and fading. You wipe your hands one last time, pressing flour from your skin. It's Sunday, which means everything must stop, at least for a little while. The sound reaches you first. Distant, slow, measured, the church bell. A single note, stretched wide across the village. Calling, reminding, insisting. You pull your shawl around your shoulders. It's worn, with 2 small patches you stitched last winter.
Still, it will do. You step out into the lane.
It's quiet here. A few children chase one another toward the square, their laughter soft, quickly hushed. Women walk in pairs. Men walk alone, heads down, boots clean. The church sits at the top of a low hill. Its stones are older than memory, darkened with rain and time. You walk slowly, carefully. Your steps fall in rhythm with others, but no one speaks. Inside, the air is thick with wax and dust. The pews are smooth with wear. You take your place beside the other women. Your hands fold in your lap. The priest speaks. His voice echoes, not loud but firm. He reads from scripture, he reminds. He warns, he speaks of duty, of sin, of obedience. You sit very still. Your eyes lower, your mind wanders. To the bread cooling on your table. To the missing button on your husband's sleeve. To the ache in your back that never quite fades, and to the confession you will whisper when the service ends. One by one, the villagers rise. They form a quiet line beside the confessional screen. Each person waits, head bowed, heart quiet. When your turn comes, you step forward. Your shoes scuff the old stones. You kneel, the curtain closes behind you. Inside, it smells of incense and wood polish. You speak softly, nothing dramatic. No crime, just small, ordinary failings. A harsh word, a jealous glance, a tired heart. You say them all the same. The priest listens. He murmurs something low. You nod. Your penance will be short. A prayer. A promise. You leave lighter, but not freer. This is not a place for release. It is a place for reminder. As you walk back down the hill, your hands tucked under your shawl, the bell rings again. Once more. And the sound follows you all the way home. The market comes once each week. It's not loud exactly, but compared to the stillness of the cottage, it hums. People talk more here, in murmurs, in short exchanges. Coins clink softly into hands. Cabbages shift in baskets. Feet shuffle across damp straw. You arrive with a small bundle. 2 loaves, a jar of dried herbs, and the tiniest packet of thread you no longer need. You do not expect much. You're here to trade, not to shop. There's nothing extra to spend. The square opens gently around you. Stalls are draped with linen cloths. Wicker baskets brim with root vegetables and dried apples. A butcher wipes his hands on his apron. A fishmonger calls out half-heartedly. Even the chickens seem subdued today. You approach a woman you know. Not well, but well enough to nod. She glances at your bread. She sniffs it, she nods once. In exchange, you receive 2 onions, a small wedge of cheese, and the softest smile of the day. No words, just understanding. Then you move on. You pass the apothecary's table, jars lined up like tiny soldiers. You scan the labels. Valerian, dried chamomile, fennel seeds. Tempting, but not today. There's something else too. Beyond the noise, beyond the bartering. It's the quiet conversation of women. They speak in corners, over baskets, beside bundles of cloth. You hear little things, snippets, half nods, names. She's carrying again. Drunk by midday. His hand, like this. You do not join them. You smile if they glance your way, but you say nothing, because there is something you are not saying. Something that lives behind your eyes. It rises in the middle of the night when you feel most alone, but you've learned to keep it tucked away, like a folded letter never sent. There are no safe places for too many words. Not in a village this small. Not in a house that quiet. You walk once more around the edge of the square. Just to be sure, you find nothing else. No bargains, no surprises. Still, the air feels lighter than it did this morning. There is something oddly soothing in being among others, even without speaking, even with secrets. You make your way home. The breeze has shifted. The clouds are softer now. The weight in your basket is modest. The weight in your chest, none changed. But the cottage waits, the hearth is still warm. And you are still needed there. A woman stands in her doorway. She wears a gray dress, an apron tied at her waist. She sweeps the stone step with a straw broom. The broom scrapes against dried leaves. You walk past her house. In your hands, you carry a folded cloth bundle. Inside it, 2 small loaves of fresh bread. The woman looks up. You stop. She wipes her hands on her apron. You offer her 1 loaf. She nods and takes it. Her hands are red and rough from the cold. Behind her, a child watches from behind a thin curtain. He has short brown hair and dirty cheeks. He pulls the curtain closed quickly. You continue walking. A man repairs a wooden fence. He uses a small hammer and iron nails. He kneels beside the fence, tapping slowly. A clay mug sits on the grass beside him. A brown horse pulls a wooden cart past you. The cart is filled with straw and 2 sacks of grain. A young boy walks beside it. He wears a frayed hat and no shoes. You pass another cottage. A woman sits near the window sewing a sock. The window is open slightly. A bundle of dried herbs hangs near the glass. Lavender, rosemary, and mint tied together with twine. A white chicken walks across your path. It clucks softly and pecks at the ground. The garden beside it grows cabbages and onions. The soil is dark and damp. 2 young girls sit on a low wall. One girl braids the other's hair. Their dresses are faded. They giggle and whisper to each other. You reach your own gate. It's made of rough wood and sticks a little when you open it. The neighbor's dog barks twice from behind a fence. It's small, brown, with a white patch on its neck. Your garden is quiet. A clay pot sits near the steps. Inside it grows thyme and sage. You smell wood smoke in the air. You open the door and step inside. Your cottage is quiet again. Outside, the village carries on. People work, animals move. But inside, all is still. You sit on a low wooden stool near the window. The sun filters through thin cloth curtains. Dust floats gently in the air. A basket of unspun wool rests at your feet. Beside you, the spinning wheel waits. Its wooden spokes are worn smooth. The pedal creaks softly as your foot begins to move. The wheel turns slowly, whirring, whispering. You pick up a tuft of wool. Your fingers pull it gently into a long strand. You feed it into the spindle. The fibers twist together, forming soft white thread. A small cat curls near the hearth. Its fur rises and falls with each breath. Now and then it stretches its paws, then settles again. The room is quiet except for the rhythm of the wheel. The sound is steady, soothing, a gentle hum beneath the silence. A kettle hangs over the fire. It lets out a low hiss of steam. The scent of dried mint and hot water fills the room. You pour a little into a clay cup. The steam curls upward. You take one sip, then return to your thread. Outside, the breeze lifts the corner of the curtain. You glimpse the garden, rows of green, a few early blossoms. A bird hops across the windowsill, then flies away. The thread grows longer. You coil it carefully around a wooden spool. Each motion is practiced, slow, purposeful. You pause to flex your fingers. They are stiff. A dull ache lives in your knuckles. Still, you reach for more wool. From time to time, your gaze drifts toward the door. But no one comes in, no one calls. The shadows on the floor shift. A sign that the afternoon is passing. Your spool is nearly full. Another small measure of usefulness. You set it aside and stretch your back. A beam of light touches your sleeve. The air smells of wool, wood, and tea. You glance toward the fire. The cat blinks at you once, then closes its eyes. The spinning wheel waits again. Its silence is gentle, not empty. Just quiet, and so you sit. And spin, and let the hours pass like thread. Thin, soft, and never quite your own. A wooden tub sits by the door. Inside it, a heap of linen. Shirts, aprons, cloths, and stockings. Some are stained with earth, others with soot or old stew. You lift the tub slowly. It's heavy with wet fabric. Your arms strain as you carry it outside. The morning sky is pale gray. Clouds drift slowly across the sun. The grass underfoot is damp with dew. You follow the path past the garden fence. A narrow trail leads down to the river. The tub presses against your hip. By the bank, several women are already there. They kneel on flat stones. Wooden paddles lie beside them. Clothes soak in shallow baskets. You nod politely, they nod back. No one speaks much. You kneel beside the water. The stones beneath your knees are cold. Your hands dip into the river. The chill rushes up your arms. You scrub a shirt against a washboard. The cloth slaps wetly. Bubbles form from a small cake of lye soap. You dip the shirt, lift it, scrub again. A woman beside you sings softly. Her voice rises and falls with the rhythm of her work. She wears a scarf over her hair. A baby sleeps in a basket nearby, wrapped in linen. The river flows steadily, clear, cold, constant. Leaves float past in silence. A frog croaks from the far bank. You wring out a cloth. The water drips onto your skirts. You lay the cloth over a bush to dry. One by one, you work through the pile. The tub empties slowly. Your arms ache. Your back grows stiff. Across the river, a man leads a mule along the opposite trail. He tips his hat to the women. They do not reply. A breeze stirs the drying cloths. They flutter like flags, white, beige, patched. Laundry day is not glamorous. But it is necessary, it is expected. You scrub the last piece of fabric, a torn apron with faded embroidery. You wring it, fold it, and set it on a clean stone. By now, the sun has risen higher. The air is warmer. The grass near the riverbank glistens. You sit back for a moment. Wipe your hands on your skirt. The women keep scrubbing. The river keeps flowing. When you stand, your knees crack. You lift the tub again, now lighters, and begin the walk home. Your hands are raw. Your sleeves are damp. But the washing is done. The sun has set. The sky outside the window glows faintly orange, then turns to gray. You strike a flint beside the hearth. Sparks leap. A small flame catches on the wick. You light a beeswax candle. The flame flickers gently, casting a golden glow. The candle sits in a shallow iron holder on the wooden table. You place your sewing basket beside it. Inside, thread, 2 needles, and a sock with a hole at the toe. The fabric is thin from wear. You sit on a low stool. The table is scratched from years of use. You thread the needle slowly. The thread slips once, then catches. Your hands are steady but tired. A small pot simmers near the hearth. It lets out a faint hiss. Steam rises and disappears in the warm air. The fire burns low. Its light pulses softly across the stone floor. You lift the sock and begin to mend. The needle moves in and out, in and out. The motion is quiet, rhythmic. A creak comes from the ceiling. The rafters shift as the house settles. Outside, an owl calls once, then silence. The room smells of warm wool, candle wax, and wood smoke. The cat returns, brushing its tail against your ankle. It hops onto the windowsill and watches the dark. You continue stitching. The repair is nearly invisible, just a line of tiny threads. You knot the end. Bite the thread and smooth the fabric with your palm. You set the sock aside, then reach for a torn shirt. It's one of the older ones. The collar is frayed. You work quietly. The candle burns lower. You shift your seat, stretch your shoulders, then lean forward again. The fire lets out a soft pop. The cat purrs without moving. Your eyelids grow heavy, but you finish the seam. A few more stitches, a final knot. The job is done. You fold the mended clothes. Stack them neatly at the edge of the table. Then stand, your knees ache. You stretch your arms slowly. The candle flame flickers again. You pinch it out between your fingers. A thin wisp of smoke curls upward, then disappears. You walk to the bed. Pull back the rough wool blanket. Lie down slowly, the room is still. The hearth glows faintly, and the last sound you hear is your own breath. The morning is cool with a pale sky and thin clouds overhead. You wrap a wool shawl around your shoulders. Your coin pouch is tucked beneath your apron. It holds just a few worn copper coins. You step outside and close the wooden door behind you. The dirt road is slightly damp from overnight rain. Tiny puddles reflect the rising light. You walk past low cottages. Thin smoke rises from chimneys. A dog barks in the distance. Ahead, the village market comes into view. Stalls line the open square. Wooden tables under canvas sheets. People gather, wrapped in cloaks, baskets hanging from their arms. You approach the first stand. A man sells apples. His hands are stained with soil. The fruit is small and bruised, but smells sweet. You take 2 apples and place a coin on the table. He nods once, then turns to the next customer. Next is a stall with linen cloth. The woman behind it arranges the bolts carefully. Her fingers move quickly as she folds and refolds. You touch a corner of fabric. It's rough, but strong. You shake your head and step away. Too expensive today, a pig squeals nearby. Children chase a loose chicken. Their laughter mixes with the clatter of hooves on cobblestone. At a table near the well, an old woman sells dried herbs. Bundles of sage, rosemary, and thyme hang from a pole. You point to a small bundle. She ties it with string and hands it to you. You give her a single coin. A bell chimes in the church tower. One long tone, it echoes faintly through the square. You stop to drink from the well. The water is cold, drawn from a wooden bucket. You sip slowly, then wipe your hands on your skirt. A young boy offers you a small loaf of bread. His cart is nearly empty. You give him your last coin, the bread is warm. You carry it in a cloth wrap. People begin to leave the market. The sun climbs higher. Shadows grow shorter. You begin the walk home. The road is dry now. The shawl slips from your shoulder and you pull it close again. Your hands are full. Herbs, apples, a loaf of bread. The scent of rosemary mixes with the warm crust. By the time you reach your door, the market sounds have faded. Only the birds remain, and the steady beat of your footsteps on the path. You step inside. Set your things down, exhale. The house greets you with its familiar stillness. The market is over, but its colors and sounds still echo softly in your mind. The air inside the cottage is cold. You pull your shawl tighter and rub your hands together. Your breath leaves a faint mist in the morning light. You sit near the hearth. There is no fire yet, just gray ashes from last night. You place a few small logs into the grate. They clunk softly. You strike flint and sparks catch. The flame rises, slow and shy. The warmth builds little by little. You hold your hands out, palms to the fire. The skin is dry, a little cracked from the cold. Your clothes are thick, a wool tunic over 2 linen layers. The fabric itches against your neck. You scratch gently and shift your collar. Still, the chill seeps in through every seam. You pull on thick woolen socks. They sag slightly at the ankle. A patch on the left toe has come loose again. You press it flat and tug your boots over them. Outside, the trees are bare. Their branches reach toward a pale winter sky. A bird hops along the fence post. It pecks at nothing, then flies away. Your neighbor walks by, carrying a bundle of twigs. He nods once, his breath rises in a cloud. You step outside briefly. The garden is hard with frost. The ground crunches under your boots. An old clay pot lies tipped on its side. The soil inside it is frozen solid. You gather firewood stacked near the wall. Each log is cold and rough. You carry them inside, one arm cradling the pile. A few small flakes of snow begin to fall. Inside, you set the logs down beside the hearth. The fire crackles softly. The sound is dry like paper crumpling. You prepare a small bowl of porridge. The oats simmer in water over the flame. A pinch of salt, nothing else today. You eat slowly, crouched by the fire. The bowl warms your hands, steam curls upward. The porridge sticks to the wooden spoon. You stay there long after you've finished, just watching the fire, letting it warm the tips of your fingers. Feeling the wool press against your arms, the room is still. Outside, the wind brushes against the walls. It whispers through cracks in the door. You lie back on a mat near the hearth, eyes open, then closed. The day has barely begun, but already it feels long. You wake to the faint sound of a bell. It rings once, then again. The sound drifts through the morning air like smoke. Soft, measured, steady. The village bell tower stands near the church, tall and narrow, built of gray stone with a small wooden platform near the top. A single iron bell hangs beneath the roof. Its clapper swings slowly. You walk along the path through the village square. Other figures move quietly, wrapped in shawls and cloaks. Most don't speak. They simply nod or glance upward toward the sound. The bell rings again. It marks the hour. And more than that, it marks the rhythm of the day. You stop at the edge of the well. Drop a bucket into the dark. It splashes softly. You draw it up slowly, arms straining, rope creaking. You pour water into a clay jar and turn back toward home. Another ring, this one longer. It signals a gathering, perhaps for mass, perhaps for a message. You keep walking. You don't need to attend today. A small boy skips a few steps behind his mother. He points toward the bell. She hushes him softly. Back at home, you set the water by the hearth. You rinse your hands, rub warmth into your fingers. Then from your seat by the window, you listen again. The bell sounds faint now, almost part of the wind, but still there, always there. Later in the afternoon, it rings again. 2 slow tolls, someone has passed. You pause just for a moment, close your eyes. The bell marks weddings, deaths, feast days, and harvests. It tells time when there are no clocks. It tells stories without words. At sunset, it tolls one final time. Evening has come. Shadows stretch across the floor. You light a small candle. Its glow replaces the fading light. And once again, the bell is silent. But the silence feels full, as if the bell has taught the world how to be quiet. The pot is old, its bottom is blackened from years of fire. The iron is thick and slightly warped. It hangs over the hearth on a swinging hook. You add water from the clay jar. It splashes gently inside. Then you stir in a small handful of oats.
And yesterday's crust of bread.
You reach into a cloth bundle and take a few dried herbs, thyme and lovage. You crumble them into the pot. The scent rises quickly, earthy, familiar. The fire crackles beneath it. Small flames lick the edges of the iron. The pot begins to bubble. Not a boil, just slow, thick blips of warmth. You sit on a stool and stir with a wooden spoon. Its handle is smooth from years of use. The spoon circles through the mixture slowly. You pause to tap it gently against the side. The sound is soft, hollow. A bowl waits on the table. Rough pottery with a chipped rim. Beside it, a cloth napkin folded and stained with tea. You ladle the soup, thick, beige, comforting. Steam curls upward. You carry the bowl to your seat by the fire. You eat slowly. Each bite is warm but mild. Nothing exciting, just enough to quiet the ache in your belly. Outside, rain begins to fall. Soft drops patter against the shutters. You listen as you eat. Chew, swallow. Pause. On the wall hangs a string of garlic. A small sack of beans sits tucked in the corner. This pot will be used again tomorrow. More oats, more water. The same spoon. Later, you rinse the bowl with warm water. Rub the spoon clean. You set them both on a shelf to dry. The pot remains where it hangs. Still warm, still waiting. No one writes songs about soup like this, but it fills the silence. And it carries the day forward, slowly, steadily, without praise. The candle flickers low on the bedside stool. Its wax has formed a quiet pool around the base of the wick. Each flicker casts long shadows across the wooden beams overhead. The wind whistles softly outside the shutters. It pushes against the walls, but the house holds steady. The roof creaks just a little, the way it always does when the air turns colder. You lie beneath a thick woolen blanket. The fabric is heavy. Its weight presses you gently into the straw-filled mattress. It smells faintly of earth and dried lavender. Your eyes drift toward the ceiling. The rafters above are darkened with soot and time. Cobwebs sway lightly in the corners. No sound but the wind now, and your own breath in out. Even a log in the hearth lets out a final crackle. A soft red glow pulses on the wall. The fire is nearly out, but it's enough. The cat curls beside the fire, paws tucked beneath its chest. It doesn't stir, not even when the shutter taps softly in the breeze. Outside, the village is still. No footsteps on the road. No voices in the dark. Just the gentle sigh of the wind and the occasional call of an owl from the distant woods. You shift slightly. The straw rustles beneath you. The blanket settles again. Your fingers are warm. Your feet tucked close. The flicker of the candle grows slower. Then at last it fades. One last glow, then darkness. But the wind continues. It moves through the cracks in the walls. It hums beneath the door, soft and slow, like a lullaby for those who work too hard to ever need a real one. You breathe out, your eyes close, and sleep comes. Not quickly, not suddenly, but steadily, like footsteps on an old wooden floor, and growing softer and softer you sit until they vanish completely. The bell tolls early, not loud, not rushed. Just slow, deep echoes through the chill morning air. You dress quietly, the same wool tunic, the same laced shoes, a clean linen scarf wrapped over your head. The sky is pale and colorless. Your breath shows as you walk. So does everyone else's. No one speaks. The church sits at the far end of the village. Stone walls, wooden doors thick with iron bolts. The ground beneath your feet is gravel and packed earth. You step through the arched doorway. The air inside is colder than you expected, still as bone. Stone columns rise toward a dark, vaulted ceiling. Candles flicker in iron sconces along the walls. Their flames move, but their light remains low. Everything here is dim except for the altar, lit by a small window of yellow glass. The benches are worn and smoothed by years of sitting. You take your place, hands folded gently in your lap. The wood creaks beneath you, but then settles. A soft shuffling of feet, a cough, then silence. The priest begins to speak. His voice is low, measured. Echoes climb the stone walls and vanish into the ceiling. You don't catch every word. You don't need to. The rhythm is familiar. The same prayers, the same pauses, the same long stretches of silence. A child nearby shifts in their seat. A woman reaches into her sleeve for a handkerchief. The candlelight flickers across their faces. You bow your head. Your eyes rest on the floor. Cool, worn stone beneath your boots. The smell is old and clean. Dust tallow. Stone that has seen hundreds of winters. The sermon ends, the priest raises his hand. The people stand, they do not speak. The final hymn is quiet, not all voices join. But the sound floats gently above the pews like breath in cold air. You walk out slowly, step back into the pale daylight. The air is brighter now, but still calm, still simple. As you walk home, the sky lightens a little more. A crow calls from a nearby rooftop. Nothing has changed. Not really. But there's peace in the repetition, in the stillness, in the way the same doors open, the same shoes are worn, the same path walked, every week. And now the day has ended. The fire has faded into soft embers. The floors have been swept. The dishes dried and stacked carefully on their shelf. And outside, the village has gone still. Nothing but the hoot of an owl, the creak of beams, the distant hush of wind through the trees. For the young wife, it was not a day of importance. It will not be written down or remembered, but it was full of tasks, of quiet thoughts, of work done without witness.
She carried the day, and the day carried her.
She was not noble, not powerful, but she was the center of her home, of warmth, of rhythm, of patience, of endurance. Behind the rushes on the floor and the linen on the line, behind every spoonful stirred, every boot scrubbed, every candle snuffed, there was a stillness, a kind of courage that never called itself brave, a kind of strength that never sought applause. She moved through time like the turning of a wheel, slow, steady, unnoticed, essential. And now you've walked with her, through dawn's chores and sunset's silence, through pottage pots, whispered prayers, and quiet griefs. Not all of it was beautiful, but all of it was hers. And maybe as you lie back now, eyes heavier than before, you carry something of her too, the calm of repetition, the peace of knowing what tomorrow brings, the softness of a world without hurry. Let that calm be yours now. Let your breath fall into the rhythm of straw mattresses and wooden spoons. Let your thoughts drift like smoke from the hearth. Let the day fade and your mind rest and your body soften into sleep. You are safe, you are warm, and you are not alone. And if this kind of journey helps you rest, you're always welcome back here again. Before you drift away, feel free to like the video and subscribe to Sleep Historian. And if you're still awake, let us know in the comments. Where are you listening from and what time is it for you? It's strangely comforting to know who else is out there, falling asleep to the quiet hush of the past. Good night.